I am Natalie, and I'm here with one of our Agape students, Duncan. Duncan, can you just introduce yourself for us?
Hello everyone, so as Natalie said, my name is Duncan. I'm a final year student studying at King's College London and I do biosciences.
Sweet. And yeah, how is your term going?
Yeah, so let's say last term was definitely intense, but thanks be to God I got through that term relatively well, and this term is going much more smoothly, but of course still intense, but much more better.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great to hear. Well, Duncan, you've been involved with us for a couple years with Agape, and I would love to know what was your experience in discovering Jesus?
Okay, that's a very good question. So growing up as a young kid, I grew up in a Christian background. So my parents were Christians, my family are Christians, my external family are Christians. And when I moved over to this country, we still continued our Christian practice and beliefs. But then I would say I was more of a Christian by name and not by nature. And the reason why I say this is because although I followed the practices, like going to church, even reading my Bible, but sometimes I had to be in a way forced to. I still didn't really fully surrender my life to God, or maybe fully really accepted what Christ did on the cross for me. And I still lived a life where I still did do some wrongs, with sin and everything. And it got to a point where I don't know, a pivotal moment of my life is I really just needed somebody to be there for me. I fell down so short on so many things, and it's my life just crumbled, and I was the only thing I knew was to go back to the start, to go back to who I knew was always there, and no matter what will always be there for you. And I think at the age of 12, in the midst of my struggles, and bear in mind I was only 12 years of age, and I was going through quite a lot of things. I was God, please forgive me. I know I've been playing around with you for a long time now in terms of knowing who you are, but still continuing to sin. And I was God, no more. I don't want to continue doing wrong, or I just want to make sure I live a life that is surrendered unto you, and to discover you, and to discover what your plans and your purposes are for my life. Growing up as a young follower of Christ. So at that young age, I took the decision to fully surrender my life to Christ, and it was literally the best moment and the best choice I could have ever made.
Yeah, that's so cool. Thanks for sharing, Duncan. Was there any specific person or group of people, anyone who really influenced you during that time of trying to understand who Jesus is, really discover him for yourself?
I feel even before then, I did have a group of people who really influenced me, going to church. Obviously, you had your preachers, the Sunday school teachers. They all said very interesting stories about Christ and everything. But I'll say one person who really got me involved into understanding who the God of the Bible is my dear friend. He's a brother to me, Demi. So basically, when I made the choice to follow Christ, I was I think I was in year 7 then, so I was 12. Me and Demi were just walking on the way home, and then Demi was to me, he was Duncan, I've read the whole Bible. I'm man, how have you read the whole thing? The book is so huge, plus you're only 12, man. How have you read the whole Bible at that age? And he was yeah, I just read the whole Bible, man. And I was cool. And me and Demi, as I said, were brothers. So obviously, if he can do it, then what's stopping me from doing it? And I was okay, if them can do it, yeah, Duncan, just read the Bible for yourself. Obviously, you want to discover more about who God is and know him and grow your faith. So I was yeah, I took the challenge to read the Bible. And thanks be to God, I think within 7 months, I had a small ESV Bible that I think my church gifted to us. Within 7 months, I completed the first reading, and even I was I was so engrossed in it to the point that even in PE sessions, I'll be bringing my Bible and reading it in school, and my friends would be is that the Bible? I'm yeah. And they're cool. And I'm where should we go from here? Literally. So yeah, I would say if anything, my dear friend Demi, he definitely inspired me to read the Bible. I feel like first maybe it was for like a bit of like, oh, if Demi could do it, I could do it. But then when I started reading it, I started really understanding who God is, understanding the nature of God, and understanding why Christ, like he sent Christ to come and die for us in the first place. And then when I just understood everything, I'm like, man, God is so good, and we humans we're so bad, and we just need him. We need his goodness in order to, like, you know, to literally be like sane on this earth. We need him in everything. So yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely Demi helped spearheaded that in terms of me growing deeper in my faith.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's cool how relationships in our lives can be what makes us curious about spiritual things, or what gives us the space to explore that more. So that's really cool. Duncan, since discovering Jesus and knowing who he is, how have you continued to maybe discover Jesus or learn more about him, grow in your relationship with him?
Fantastic. That's a really good question. So for me now, I would say, like, the point I am at with my relationship with God is just understanding, like, his deeper mysteries, and understanding, like, you know, the full nature of, like, God and who Christ is and the Spirit is. So, like, what I like to do in order to help me to keep growing is I like to watch a lot of sermons that literally edify me in terms of, like, going through the nature of Christ, going through, like, pivotal events that happen in the Bible. And also I'm really into, like, obviously my love for ancient history as well. I love historical history, and also my love for, like, Asian history. So I love to watch, like, videos basically talking about, like, biblical prophecies and like the fulfillment of those prophecies, and how Christ basically, like, came as a result of what was written about him. And then when you tie the links between, like, everything that was said in the Old Testament and the New Testament, you just see, like, so much truth within the Bible, like why he needed to come, what was his purpose, what was his reason, and what he hopes to, like, establish, you know, even how many thousands of years after, like, he left the earth. So I would say, like, for me, I'm just on a real journey just to fully understand, like, the deeper concepts of the Bible, and just to really take my my relationship with God to another level. So that's great.
And my last question for you, Duncan, if there was someone listening who was wanting to discover more about Jesus, do you have any words for them?
Well, it's a very good question you asked, and I'll relate this to a video I watched about a man who was coming from, like, a different practice. He came from the practice of New Age, and what really inspired him to know Jesus was he still wanted to hold on to his beliefs as, like, a New Age practicer. And the Christian fellow was like, just give Jesus a try. He was like, but I don't want to give up my New Age beliefs. He was like, just try Jesus. And then he was like, but I don't know about, you know, going to church and doing all this stuff. The man was like, just try Jesus. So I think from his words of encouragement, that's what I would say to anybody who, you know, is not sure. Just give Jesus a chance. Like, literally, you know, he says that he's standing there, like, knocking at the doors of your heart, you know, and he will only come in if you only receive him. So if you try him, you know, you give him that chance and that opportunity to, you know, change your life, he surely will, but he will not force it. So my words of encouragement is just try Jesus, and how that may look like is maybe, like, exploring the Bible a bit more, exploring what the New Testament says about him, because the New Testament talks about what he did on earth. So just try Jesus, and then see, like, the wonders that he would do from, like, coming into you and changing you from the inside out. So that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Thanks, Duncan. Thanks for sharing with us.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks for listening.